through our channels. Of course, you sell to the dealer sells to the wholesaler, like that, like that, like that. So it's just a few people that are getting out of that cluster and then getting to just want to deliberately sell to the client directly. And of course, if you want to, with the way um, the whole branding thing is evolving, manufacturers want to sell to consumers directly by cutting all of those channels, all of those strategies that traditional organizations put in place to sell. So basically, it has really, really been difficult. But then, for like, I think before COVID, a lot of organizations have been receptive about the whole branding thing, and then getting serious and deliberate about how they want their brands to be positioned. So we get calls in weeks and months about um, organizations wanting us to come take a look at what they're doing, how they can do it better, what we can propose, of course, what we can advise them to do, and all that. So it's getting better because people are actually coming into the limelight. A lot of people from this side feel the apex of the whole thing is in Abuja and Lagos. So if they can sell to people in Kano, in Sokoto, in Chigawa, Katsina, in Bauchi, they feel they're fine. The returns are coming in. But we're trying to make them understand that there's still a whole wild ocean that is not even, you've not even envisioned that you can also sell in those places. But you can't sell in those places. You can't easily access those places without getting your branding game in place. So that's how it has been. It's not been easy, but then we're gradually moving to the period where we can say, okay, yes, these guys are actually accepting whatever it is we're offering.
Before I give Blessing back the podium, and the African market right now is changing, is evolving with the African Free Continental Trade Agreement that is actually going on. At times I wonder, or I think about, how can manufacturing products, Nigerian manufacturing products, compete with the rest of Africa if, when you travel to East Africa or you travel to North Africa and our products are not there, and the only way for the product to be there is through branding, it's through brand awareness, it's through brand marketing, all the whole technology that you guys always use. And so for us, I think it is important to, you said proposal 13 was sent, 7 was red flagged, 5 came back, 3 said no, only 2 agreed to go ahead and work with you. With the African Free Continental Trade Agreement, conversations been going on, how does a manufacturing company here or an industrial company who produces either machinery, equipment, tools, or even finished goods compete with the rest of Africa when it is easy for me to identify a Cameroonian product here in Nigeria, or a Ghanaian product, or a coffee product from Rwanda, or something from South Africa? How can we compete with that market if we are not willing, if we want to stick to the traditional channel, like you said, using dealers, wholesalers, and straight to the end users?
Okay, the thing is, there is no two ways about it. Branded products would always sell more than unbranded products. So branding as it is, you can't just deviate from it and want to get bigger results. Yeah. So a lot of times I get the question of we're doing so and so, we're doing so and so, it's related to branding, but we're not seeing the results that we ought to see. But then it has to be right from it has to be from the generation of your brand story, like from the very scratch. So this Cameroonian products, these Ghanaian products and the likes, most of them have done their homework. They've done it well. So you can't be manufacturing concrete poles. You can't be manufacturing concrete poles and want to just sell to, of course, PHCN as it were, and with the other names that are all scattered over the place. You can't be manufacturing that to just sell to these people. If you really want to export, you have to get it done. There's no way you can win. In fact, I've had there are some agencies that has invited us to come and do a survey for them and to really find out what exactly is happening with the brand. So what we got to find out was they were producing the same thing, the same product with the people they are competing with. They had competitors. So the issue was theirs wasn't branded, and the competitors did their own work well. So when they came, we're like, okay, this thing is very glaring. You can't put label. I'm just trying to use some terminology so to help me explain better. You can't use a label when you're supposed to use a full can. So they were using labels. They're using labels for products, while these people that they're trying to compete with, I think it's a Sierra Leone brand, something, and these people are branding not just from the logo and all that. They are putting out a complete story of what they are, of what they want to be recognized as. You understand? So it is really, and there's no way these people who want to get into that those markets. There's nothing they can do to boycott it's a due process, like they say. It's a due process. There's no way you can go out of it. It has to be done, and it has to be done well. So there's no way to compete when you're not taking that seriously. Whether it services your marketing, whether it's product, whether it's equipment, whatever it is, you can't just get out of that. You have to do it and get it done right.
All right. Thank you. Blessing. Give you the stage back.
Thank you very much, Martino.
Come back, Blessing.
So do you think it's a thing of a knowledge gap? This receptiveness to branding, because I think everything you talked about is how people receive the message of, oh, you need to brand your product, to do better. Do you think it has anything to do with a knowledge gap? Do people really know the reason why they should brand their products, or are they just ignorant, of this?
I think the knowledge gap plays a really, really vital role, because a lot of people don't know what it is. When you talk about branding, the only thing they understand is they're talking about a brand logo. You're talking about maybe getting colors, brand colors, or maybe portraying a particular image for the brand. So if you see someone with curly hair, you should know it's this product. If you see someone with, they just want variables that will be used to identify their brand, right? But it is more than that. It is way, way more than that. So a lot of them don't know. Like sometimes in the proposals we submit here, we go as far as including some materials for branding to give them the idea of what it is, to get them into the light of this is what we're going to do for you. So when we do, we take them to a journey. When we do this, this is the results you're going to get, and this is the what they call it. This is the outputs you're going to get when you imply whatever it is we suggest or whatever it is we give to you that comes out of our research. So they don't know. They don't know. It's the knowledge thing, the knowledge gap thing. So they're not literate about it.
I see. So can you just enlighten our viewers and listeners on what branding really is? So that way they can have a better idea, because what we've said is branding is not just about a logo or the packaging. You know how people, for instance, the plantain chips I sold on the street, it's like easy peasy. We just put a nylon on it, put our label on it. So can you educate us better on what branding really is?
Okay, thank you. Okay, branding as it is, there has been a lot of misconception about branding, a whole lot of it. So, of course, it has always been difficult to get people out of those beliefs, those myths, to get into the real light of what branding is. Branding is about value. I told someone sometimes, branding is about value, and the person was like, what are you trying to say? the value we place on branded items are more than the values we place on unbranded items. You can buy coal, just to mention, you can buy coal from the roadside, and then it can be just as you call it, coal. Then someone walks up to you and tell you, I sell scented coal. Okay, and you're like, why scented? It is because they have in one way moved from the general markets and general opinion to creating their own markets. So branding helps you, branding is what helps you to position yourself in a way that people would develop a certain perception about that particular thing you're putting out. Could be your brand, it could be your product, it could be your services, it could be your equipment, it could be whatever, it could be whatever. So branding gets you out from the place of everyone to the place of just you. So basically, it's just about value addition. Sincerely, there's nothing you can talk about. You can't talk about branding and not talk about value addition. So from the very scratch, when you're starting out the brand processes, you have to get all of the what's it called? Get all of the boxes checked. You get your value proposition checked. You get your brand story checked. Everything that has to do with your brand that you want people, individuals, organizations to get to. It helps to create an ideology of what it is you're selling. It helps to create a mindset. Like, you don't have to do the talking. The branding will do the talking for you. So you don't need to go into saying we do this, we do this, we do this. So people will just from the physical view of things get to say, okay, these people are more serious than these other people. So that's what branding is. That's what branding is.
Thank you very much. So basically what you said is branding is about placing value on your product or even a service that you render.
Yeah.
So have you had experience with, ground up branding for any business, like from the start point? Can you just give us a scenario of one? You don't have to mention the company, what you did with them and how that helped, the business. And just before you answer, to our viewers and listeners, if you like to contribute to this discussion, you can just chat us up in the chat box, or if you have any comments, you can place them there and we'll just read them out. Or if you have questions for Mark Nuro, please go ahead and put them in the chat box. So tell us, about, just that process flow, the whole, A to Z of branding. If a company approaches you and says to you that, oh, we'd like to start a business or we have a product in mind, how would you advise them on, branding?
Okay, so I'm going to start by first talking about the first project I was part of that had to do with branding and brand management. So I did branding and branding basically for an amusement park. So there were as at the time they had about 5 competitors. In fact, this was the first amusement park in Kano at the time. So they had like 5 competitors when they were trying to think of how better can they render services, how better can they do things. So they were talking about they walked up to me and they spoke to me about marketing. So from what they explained and all, I got to discover it's not really about marketing. It's not about advertising. The issue wasn't from advertising. The issue was from what people perceive about their brand. So a lot of people had a very, very, very different perception about what they offer. A lot of people have. It was so wrong that it was affecting their business. And I mean, if you understand with me, amusement park equipment facilities are really, really high involved when it comes to finances. So they were losing money. They were losing recognition. They were losing a whole lot of things. So we started talking. So I told them the issue was not from the issue was not, the issue wasn't from marketing. For marketing, the issue is getting the brand story in alignment with the brand proposition. What do you want to get? What do you want? What do you want people to know about this brand? What do you want people to what? Why do you want people to patronize, to come here, to think of this place as the first leisure place, the best place to get leisure and all? So we talked about that for a long time, and then I told them the issue was branding. So we went into brand management and all. So we did the branding for them from the very first what do you call it, from the very scratch, was getting their brand story right, getting their strategies in place, and then designing an identity, then getting to apply all of those things to different touch points. So after 3 months of doing that, they started noticing a change in, of course, sales, right? Started noticing change in sales. Sales figures was going up, and then at some point they were competing with just one, because the other four, I mean, that were in the market at the time were nowhere to be found. So they started competing with just one. So you see where you see how the journey came. They came from a place of losing it, and then came to a place of gaining recognition, and of course providing the services that almost everybody wants to patronize in the state. So they just end up being just two that are competing for that place. So another agency that have also been part of their branding processes, they're into manufacturing. I think they were in Lagos for some events, I think last summer or so. Mr. Joe can relate. So we started out with, they wanted to design package designs for their products. So when they spoke about package design with me, so I told them, so when we started the package design process, because that was what they came for. So we got to a point where we needed some materials, and we needed the brand guideline, we needed a lot of things, and they didn't have it at the time. But there's no way we can do this without getting to understand what the entire brand stands for. There's no way we can achieve all of this. So how better can we do this, instead of just picking up a logo from anywhere and then just including products that you're going to spend millions trying to promote, trying to push out, trying to ship to different locations across Nigeria, across Africa? How better can we do it? So that was when we started talking about branding. And sincerely, since we did that was in 2019, it has been a total revolution. Like the change is really, really, really massive. Sincerely. So from where they came from to where they are, in fact, I was speaking to the CEO just yesterday, and he mentioned a couple of things about what the different industries they also want to go into. Of course, because they position themselves in a way that people who want the services of those industries would also think about them. Their names will pop up in the discussion rooms because they've really done well in getting their marketing, their branding strategy right. So from the A to Z of the branding as it is for them was going from a place of where they didn't know what they wanted, which is they just wanted to do. I'm talking about the amusement park now. They just wanted to do marketing, and then getting to do marketing while doing the brand management thing for them, and then getting to also get them fixed in the amusement park competition and getting them a place that they would stand and say, okay, yes, we've gone past where we used to be, and we're better where we are now.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for taking us through that journey. And I think it really just shows us how, having a good knowledge of branding in itself can set you apart from your competition, like in the case of the amusement park and the other business you talked about. And of course, hiring someone like a branding agency such as yours with excellent track record, gives that leverage, that added advantage, So at this junction, I want to know if there's anybody in the audience who would like to comment or share their own branding stories. Could you please just put your hand up in the, the Zoom raising of hands if you would like to comment on, or if you have any questions for Mr. McNeil at this point? So, Mr. McNeil, while we wait for questions from the audience, Joseph was talking about how Nigerian businesses can set themselves apart, in the international market. So do you have any advice for, especially exporters, because a lot of our brands have not really been able to gain that traction or entrance into the foreign market. And it's basically because of branding and I mean, if we can relate to the value proposition part of it, to the quality of the products. So do you have any advice for these businesses, what you think they need to really pay attention to, to be able to gain traction into the international market?
The first thing is, if you're trying to gain entry into international markets, you need to get a lot of things in place. Getting everything that has to do with putting out these products, putting out this equipment, putting out the services there. We need to also be deliberate about branding. Now, there's what they call what's the terminology again? Okay, I can't really remember that, but it gets you from 0 to 100. From 0 to 100, while of course paying attention to what other people are doing. So if products like Mr. Joe was talking about earlier, products from Ghana, products from Sierra Leone, products from Cameroon, products from Chad, are competing with the rest of the world. Now, local manufacturers, of course, in Nigeria here, they need to really pay attention to what are the things these people are doing that we are not doing. Now, if you look closely, that doesn't mean that the products or the brands from other countries are getting their branding game right. Yeah, but then it just gets you to understand that some of them are really doing well when it comes to their brand management. They're really putting it out well, pushing it out well, making the prospects, the international markets that they are advertising to, the people that they're marketing to as well, understand that they're really main business. If you want to sell raw seeds, agricultural seeds for farmers, and you just have it packed in a bag without anything. You just want to sell, and then you will just keep selling that way. There's no value addition to whatever it is you're selling to this international market. So you can't just deviate from not paying attention to it. This is what if you want to check out serious competitions, serious competitors in all industry, that is what they're getting rightly. If you don't get it rightly, there's no way to start. You can just be on the same level with the traditional manufacturers in that industry. So you can't even you can just move from 0 to 5 when the aim is to move from 0 to 100. So there's no way you can even boycott any of these processes to get to that place where you compete globally. So that's just it. There's no way you can do that.
Interesting. So I mean, it still goes back to value addition, right?
Yes.
Like you rightly said, and of course, if you place a lot of value on your product and you brand properly, then it promotes that awareness of your product. So like the example you gave about selling raw seeds in a sack, everybody just knows, oh, this is like a bag of rice, for instance, or this is a bag of this. So if you place some branding on it, some value addition on your product, then it keeps you top of mind, of the customer. And I mean, it just tells us how seriously people should start taking branding, especially if they must penetrate into, the international space, or at least meet up with the standard of what other people are doing, or be part of the top competitors, in the manufacturing space. Thank you so much, Aknuo. It's actually been a pleasure speaking to you. And to our viewers and listeners, we've seen different reasons why we need to take branding of our products or service seriously. And of course, quality branding can increase the profitability of your company. Like he's giving us different scenarios from a service provider like amusement park to someone who is manufacturing products. Just changing their branding has increased the profitability of that company. And of course, just to add, to everything that's been said today, a great brand definitely improves your employees' pride and job satisfaction. So when you have good branding on your product, the people who work for you take pride in just being in your company. And I mean, when we talk about, if you've ever been in a customer service training, they tell you about two different kinds of customers, the internal and external customers. So branding is not just about pleasing the end user. You also have the people in-house who would promote your product, who will be ambassadors for your business. So definitely branding is to be taken seriously. It gives your employees that pride and joy to say, oh, I work for this company. Just to mention a few like Coca-Cola, or Unilever. So I work for this company because those companies have very high brand value in the market space. And of course, exceptional branding promotes and reinforces successful advertising and marketing. So when you've branded your product from the get-go, it's easy for you to keep marketing it. It's easy for you to keep advertising, it's like you're stacking it up, and your customers keep seeing more and more of you. And I think just placing value on your product also opens up your mind to how much more you can offer to the customer. So it goes a long way. And we really like to thank Aknuo for joining us today and for sharing some of his experience with us. And we hope that we would have a chat again sometime in the future about branding, and thank you so much to the MWA group and the MWA team for organizing this webinar, to educate people on the importance of branding. To our audience out there, we want to say a very big thank you for taking our time out of your busy schedule to join us this afternoon. And of course, we would like you to follow our social media platforms. We're on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and everywhere you see the EMWA logo, just click and follow, like and share our posts. And of course, just stay connected with us to see more about our events and other webinars. Of course, like we said at the start, this is the first of its kind, and we'll be bringing you different topics, different subjects to you on more and more in the manufacturing space. Thank you so much. I'm your host for today. My name is Blessing Oji, and see you later. Thank you.
Recording stopped.